This is the sixth in a series of Basecamp tutorials, and I think it might be my last. Yay! Okay, so all I really want to talk about is creating your own and your own team or project, and why you might want to do that. So, of course, this space called the Vista High School HQ, everybody is going to have and everybody's a part of. That's the overarching organization that we are all a member of. The teams and projects that will show up here for you are only those teams and projects that either somebody else created and invited you specifically to, or they are teams and projects that you have created yourself. So that's what will show up. So let's just say you want to create a new team. You click on that plus and you give it a name, test team. Hit save. And as I said in an earlier video, when you do that, by default, this is what happens. You get all 6 of these sections. And I told you the to-do and the automatic check-ins aren't useful to me, so I remove them, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You could also go through this little, he'll walk you through, this little baby Basecamp will walk you through it. I don't want to do that because I know pretty much what I'm doing. So here's what I do. If I want to turn off some of these, like these 2 in particular, if I just click on, see where it says other tools available, email forwards, that is the 7th. So you see these 6 things are available. There's also one more, but they don't add it by default. But if you want to adjust this, just click on that. It doesn't look like it is a link, but it is. So when you click on it, you now see these 7 sections and you can turn them on or off. So I'm going to just turn to-dos off and I'm going to turn the automatic check-ins off. If you wonder how to use either of those 2 sections, you can hit me up and I'll explain it. I can also explain what email forwards are if you're clear, or if you're unclear about it, or you can just test it out, but that's already turned off, so that's fine. That will essentially save it. And now I'm good. I just have the things that I want. Now, how do you make it productive or useful to a group? Well, you have to invite people to it. So you click on this, invite people to the team, and you can now add them. And I would recommend that you do add a name. So Matt Stuckey. If that person is already a part of our group, you can just click that person and they automatically do it. If they're not, you would add their name, tab over. This would be at gmail.com. So it doesn't even have to be part of Vista. If it's someone outside and I click, I'm going to take Matt off here because this is just a test, and I click send invitations, I think it's going to give me, oh, it's actually not. I thought it was going to give me a little message that said, hey, you're inviting someone outside the organization here, and you can just hit yes. It's useful, by the way, to do that if it makes sense. So for example, maybe you are on a project related to new technology or new furniture in the classroom or something, and you need, like, maybe there's some consultant or an architect or someone who's not part of Vista, but you want to be part of this team or this project to help you see it through. But you don't want them to be a part of this Vista HQ because you don't want them to get messages about what we're doing. You can invite such people to just a team or just a project, and now they will only be alerted or included on communication or files or whatever related to that project. So you can still do that, just so you know. What else was I going to show you? Oh yeah, so why else might you want to create a team or a project as a classroom teacher? Now, I know that I'm kind of a strange person, but I can't stand communicating via email. And what's more, my students, perhaps you have students like this too, my students do not check email. It doesn't matter how many times I implore them to do so, they just don't. And so I try to find other ways to communicate with them. Basecamp is one of those ways. So I have created teams. So here's my period 2 team. And what I did is when I created it, just like that test one I created a few moments ago, when I clicked into it, I just clicked add and remove people. And now, yeah, it was a little bit of manual labor to get this set up, but I invited all of my students. So now, if I want to communicate to everyone in the class, it's a quick campfire notification. So I can just type that here. If it's a short message, I can also communicate to everyone via these message board posts because those are a little bit longer. So In either of those two cases, those are whole class communications. However, if I want to communicate with just one of them, or just two of them, or maybe a small group, if they're working in groups, I can ping them. And I could decide to communicate with just these three, and I could ping them, and now these three people, whoever, whatever I send now, will go to just them. So it is a useful way for me to communicate quickly with these students. Now, yes, it does require that your students get set up with a Basecamp account. You would have to invite them, as I just showed you how to do. And they'll get that email that you got when I first invited you, and they would sign up using their student Gmail account. So it's all super easy. But then they won't be, and they aren't, by the way, they aren't part of our Vista HQ, because I didn't invite them to here. I didn't click into Vista HQ and invite them. Sorry, I thought I just did that. And invite them here. Don't do that, because we don't want students getting the messages related to our staff level communications. But if you just invite them to a team, or just invite them to a project that you have created, they will only get the communications related to that. So you can create the teams and projects any way you like. I've divided mine up via periods so that I can communicate with each period separately, either as a whole group of students in that period, or I can ping them individually or in small groups. That's useful to me. I've also used it. Kids have demonstrated certain learning to me using that. So they've created their own projects or teams, and they have used it to communicate with me directly. They have used them to upload files that are related to demonstrations of learning that they have to do for me. So there's really, I'm just scratching the surface, but there really are a number of ways that you can use this to be a valuable tool in the classroom. And I see that, as we move down the road a little bit, and I'm thinking about more project-based learning approaches, I can see this tool as being an effective one for helping kids to manage the process related to their learning. And again, I'm not quite there yet, but looking down the road, I see that as a possibility. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and I really encourage you guys to explore it and see what you come up with. And if you come up with any cool things that you can do with this that I haven't talked about, please share them with me, because I'm always curious to know how to be better at my job. Okay, so that's I think the end of these tutorials. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know and I will gladly help. Thanks so much.